let me tell you something. Look it, man. I've been an Atlanta fan for 45 years.
Late night vibes, we're turning up the heat. T-Will on the mic, can't accept defeat. My ATL sports show, he's running the game. Atlanta Falcons fly high, you know the name. In the heart of the A, where the pride runs deep. From the Braves to the Falcons, he's keeping it real, no sleep. He's got the scoop, every player, every play. Bringing the thunder every single day. T-Will, shining bright on the airwaves, bringing sports tonight. Atlanta heart, with a soul so free. My ATL Sports Show, it's the place to be.
Welcome, Falcon fans. Welcome, Hawks fans. Welcome, all ATL fans, to the For My ATL Sports Network. I'm here with Mr. Brycey 2K from the Believe Sports Network. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm good, T-Will. I'm good, man. It's been a while since I've been back on, but glad to be back on, man. So, especially with a hectic time going on right now in Atlanta sports.
Crazy day in Atlanta sports, man. And hey, man, we're glad to have you. But like you say, hectic day. Let's get to it, man. Atlanta sports are in turmoil a little bit right now with major shifts for both the Falcons and the Hawks. Today, we're going to cover the Falcons' sweeping organizational changes and the Hawks' potential franchise-altering trade, which blew my mind when I saw that today. We got John Brooks in the chat. John Brooks says, "What up, T-Will? What is going on, John? Hopefully you're doing well, sir. Hopefully you are doing well." So with that being said, let's get to it. Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot were shown the door last night. Failure to meet expectations. I think that's fair. Consecutive seasons, 8 and 9. Quarterback controversy, right? And look at 2024 and 2025 under Raheem Morris, extending the playoff drought to 8 years. Fontenot's record was 37 and 48 with no playoff berths. Inconsistent play despite a late season win streak in 2025. Controversial quarterback decision, signing Kirk Cousins and then drafting Michael Penix Jr. And Fontenot's mixed draft results kind of led to this. But right off, give me your thoughts on this, Bryce.
I mean, I pretty much understand the move, and I think it's a move that was needed to be made.
Okay.
I said when they hired Raheem, this team believed after the change from Arthur Smith that they were a playoff-ready roster and a playoff-ready team. And with that, when you come into that situation as a new coach, I would believe that you don't have the normal traditional 3 years. You have 2. And in the 2 years that Raheem has been here, he hasn't gotten it done, And this year was especially bad because they were eliminated before Thanksgiving. So it's one of those things where even though they had that winning streak to end the season, the fact that you got eliminated and honestly, those wins, honestly, you could look as a negative towards Raheem because why weren't we doing that earlier this season?
Correct.
And so I think there was a lot of things systematically within the coaching ranks that were not good. You whiffed on your coordinators, special teams coordinator got bad all of a sudden, whiffed on kicker, designing offenses for Penix that was not maybe best for his skill set. There was just a lot of things, the Ray McLeod thing. Like there's just a lot of things that have happened that are just like a good, competent, structured organization would not have these issues. Yes, it's possible to whiff. Yes, it's possible to miss. Nobody's perfect. But usually it's one minor thing amongst a lot of great things. And with the Atlanta Falcons, you can't say under Raheem Morris, we had a lot of great with a couple of minor. It felt like it was almost more negative stuff than positive stuff. So I understood why they need to make this change. And organizationally, people have said it for years. Every time we've changed coaches, if certain things don't change at the top, which they also did there, nothing's really going to actually change on the field.
Yeah. And look at the debacle with Kirk last year. Is he hurt?
Mhm.
Was he not hurt? I mean, there's no way you didn't know. That went on for 5 games. You didn't make a change. You had a situation with Koo was hurt last year. You didn't make a change. The whole timeout debacle, you didn't call the timeout. Then you went on 92.9 the game, and you got into it with one of the analysts, and you told him that he should stop being negative and caught up in the past. And all he wanted to know was, can you just reassure us? Like what he literally says,
Mhm.
Raheem, I'm with you. I believe in you. But to the sports fans out there who don't, can you tell them something? Can you give them a reason to believe? You know what Raheem Morris does? You're being negative. I mean, again, just complete. It's like he
Mhm.
got tone deaf, right? And that was last year. Then we get into this year, the off season. We hear from Raheem. Well, there's going to be a kicking competition, and we signed
Mhm.
this guy through the European International Program, whatever. And it was marketed. It was sold to us as there was a kicking competition between this kicker and Koo. And we later find out this guy isn't even ready. So that's another lie, right?
Mhm.
And Kirk Cousins comes out in the offseason and said, well, I really was hurt, right? I really
Mhm.
was hurt, and blah, 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 which makes the organization look worse, right? So for me, it got to the point I didn't trust a thing they said. And that's just year one, right? Then we get to year two, first game. Koo misses the kick that would have tied it, you know. And Bryce, if we'd won one more game, just one more game, we'd be in the playoffs.
Mhm.
One more game. One more game, right? So we have that debacle. Okay, so Koo misses the first kick, you release him. Then Mooney gets hurt, and you say, well, he's kind of day to day, he's game to game. And we find out 3, 4 months later, he's got a torn clavicle. He's he,
Mhm.
he broke his I mean, and but you market it, it's a little thing, right? And they just kept going on and on. Then you got your two coordinators that you hired that both had non-experience. And if it was for me, it's three things that really got him. The first is the decision on coordinators. Raheem, you've been in the game at least 30 years. You're old enough to know better.
Mhm.
You're not a first time. This isn't even your second go around at a head coaching position. You are old enough to know better. I've never seen anybody go with the first time offensive coordinator and first time defensive coordinator. You could have one, but not two. And
Mhm.
specifically for what happened, because last year Jimmy Lake had no idea what he was doing, and this year, Zach Robinson appeared to have no idea what he was doing, or at least had very predictable play calling.
Mhm.
And to your point, was not tailored to Penix's skill set, right? So you do that, you sign Kirk Cousins to a $180 million deal. It doesn't work out. The plan is for him to play 2 years and then pass the mantle on to Michael Penix. That doesn't happen. He gets hurt last year. And I'm thinking to myself, these situations are all situations that should have been discussed, right? If you are
Mhm.
a professional football franchise, the last thing you should be is caught off guard by an injury. Somebody in the room should have said, what if he gets injured? What's the plan? Where is the kid? How can we get him ready?
Mhm.
Right? They didn't want to do that because they didn't feel like he was ready. And my issue is you had a 37-year-old quarterback coming off of an Achilles injury. That should have been first and foremost in your mind. So for me, all of these things add up to number one, a thought process that is not like anybody else, and not just not up to par, and number two, really bad timing. So
Mhm.
it's unfortunate. I like Raheem. I think he's a great speaker. He's just not a leader right now, and I don't know that he'll ever be of an NFL franchise. He's just not. So anyway, we can move on. Matt Ryan is now, and we got somebody in the chat. We've got Ronnie Thomas saying, T Will, laugh out loud. Oh, what up? No headline. T Will, laugh out loud, man. How are you, Ronnie Thomas? Hopefully, all is well. Former Falcons QB expected to be hired for the new role with the final decision making authority. Matt Ryan is named president or football operations, or I think because of the Rooney Rule,
Mm.
he will be in a couple of days. It's a foregone conclusion. But anyway, it is an organizational shift. Ryan will have final decision making power on all football matters. The new GM and head coach will report to him. Give me your thoughts on that, Bryce. Like, I don't know that Matt has any executive experience. Are we making the right decision here? Like, give me your thoughts.
I mean, I feel like this is a situation where I think, when a lot of these guys get to the end of their careers or they retire, they kind of start going into more behind the scenes. They know what's happening behind the scenes and everything like that. I mean, one example is John Lynch. He was television like Matt and then went right to management, and that worked out. And he wasn't even, I don't even think he played for the San Francisco 49ers. I could be wrong. And so I think, honestly, this is fine. I think at the end of the day, the Falcons needed to make a change at the top of that decision-making pool. I think everybody was tired of Rich McKay. They felt like Rich McKay has ran this franchise into the ground. He's hindered this franchise for years. And so the worst thing that can happen is you get a fresh mindset, a fresh voice in the room. Remember, Matt's been here. He knows Atlanta. He knows the team. He knows the franchise. He knows Blank. There's a lot that he knows, right? Plus, somebody said it like this, and I agree with this. Matt Ryan knows how the Falcons failed him. And that could be something where he's like, I don't want the franchise that I was the face of and I carried for many, many years to continue to go through this slide that they've been going through. I want to see the franchise break out of this, and I want them to be able to be one of the premier franchises in the league if possible. And if I can help in that process, then I'm willing to do my part. So I actually I'm not mad about it. I like it, to be honest with you. I think Matt, like I said, he's someone who, again, he's very much involved in a lot of probably league circles. He's already done groundwork on potential candidates for the head coach and general manager job that's been reported. So clearly he's hitting the ground running and investing into this role. So that way they can, like I said, make the best decision. Now, we don't know if there's someone they already have in mind. And Matt's already said, this is someone I really think would be great for the organization. But, because at the end of the day, when you make these football personnel decisions, you're looking at, okay, what do we want? What's the vision? What type of guys do we want? And we hiring guys who will help implement that vision to the highest degree. And then you kind of let it play out. And then you rely on the team that you have. Because listen, he'll obviously, essentially with the GM and head coach reporting to Matt, they're going to be working hand in hand, obviously, on what they want for the team to look like. So ultimately, I think this is a good chance for them to kind of just build everything up and kind of create something different. And I think that's one thing I think a lot of Falcons fans want, is just something different.
Okay. All right. I mean, I can buy that. Part of a sweeping restructure by owner Arthur Blank. Actually, I got to get to some housekeeping. So Ligon TD says, I don't like Matt Ryan doing the TV role in addition to the Falcons role. Not everyone can balance multiple jobs. I didn't know that he was still doing that. I had assumed that he wouldn't be doing that. So we probably need to verify that. And it says here, potential NFL review regarding his CBS analyst role, because I would think that would be a conflict of interest.
I mean, Tom Brady did it, so I think, maybe Matt's thinking, well, Tom did it, so maybe I can do it. But no, I know that's been something people are like not a fan of. They kind of want him to be, if he's going to do the job, like be 100% dedicated to the job.
Okay, I mean that's more to come on that one. That's interesting. We've got Craig in the chat. Craig says, God is good. Won't he do it? God answered my prayers and cleaned house. Amen, amen, amen. Immediate priority, Ryan to spearhead the search for a new head coach and general manager. That's going to be interesting. That is going to be interesting. And I'm curious as to your thoughts on the next GM for the Falcons, if you have any ideas, have you thought about it? Like, give me your thoughts on that.
I mean, I haven't really thought that deeply about the general manager position, if I'm being honest. I've really thought about head coach. I mean, I've heard a name. Ian Cunningham has been a name I've heard mentioned for the job. I don't know if this is like his job to lose or that's just a name, since people have early indications and early links. I mean, obviously they have a sports firm helping with that search for a general manager, so obviously that means that won't just be. I would assume they're going to talk to other people. I think a lot of people are throwing out a lot of different names, but I think the general manager is going to probably be the interesting one, because you usually hire that first before hiring the head coach.
Correct.
So, I'm interested to see kind of how it's going, because I think they're already requesting multiple interviews for head coaches. Yeah. But we haven't heard someone from general manager yet. But maybe that's because you probably could hire a general manager sooner than you know what I'm saying, did a head coach. So, and then you'll look into who you want to lead your franchise at that moment.
That makes sense. Craig says there's actually a few good head coaches available or assistants to become head coaches. Robert Blackman says, good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, Robert. So, Bryce, just going to run through some candidates for you. If anything jumps out at you, let me know. If it doesn't, hey, all good. We'll move on. But we've got Ian Cunningham from the Chicago Bears. Has a pedigree with the Ravens and the Eagles, worked under Ozzie Newsome and Howie Roseman, has Super Bowl experience, strong scouting background, has a very close relationship with Matt Ryan. So that is one to consider. Ray Agnew, assistant general manager, Detroit Lions, former NFL player, scout director, assistant GM, helped build Rams Lions turnarounds. Detroit's rebuild blueprint is exactly what Atlanta needs. Tough trenches, first team building. So I'm assuming this guy is astute with his scouting of offensive and defensive linemen when they say trenches. I'm assuming. I could be wrong. John Eric Sullivan. Guy's got 3 names. Typically, those are serial killers. Right? I'm just kidding. Why he's intriguing. 20+ years in Green Bay. Draft and development excellence, multiple GM interviews already. Packers' conservative model may clash with Atlanta's urgency. Stability higher, not flashy, but sustainable. Yeah, that doesn't do it for me. I don't know. Doesn't really get me going. What about you? Is it wet your whistle, or can we move on?
We can move on.
Yeah, he sounds boring. All right, Alec Hellaby, GM or assistant GM for the Eagles. Why he's rising, analytics forward background. And we are in the age of analytics, right? You got it in baseball, you got it in football, you may as well embrace it. So he is very analytics driven, and look, at the Eagles are winning. So they're doing something right. 16 seasons in Philadelphia, Super Bowl winning front office. What he brings, data-driven decision-making, right? Bryce, do me a favor. Give us a data-driven decision in the NBA, because I know that's your jam. But give us a scenario where the old school thinking or the regular method of thinking would tell you to do this, but the analytics tells you to do something that's the opposite or different. Can you give us an example like that?
I guess you look at. It's funny. It's not really a decision. It's kind of like it's just like a stat that kind of can tell you something about a team situation.
Right.
Kevin Durant is an example. Apparently, analytically, if you go into some deeper numbers, and this is like deep analytics, that in terms of when he has the ball in his hands, I think. I don't know if I remember this fully correctly. He has this season is his highest season in terms of turnover rate per possession as a player, which is why Houston sometimes in clutch situations struggles to, protect the ball security, things of that nature, just because he has to carry more of an offensive load. And so it reflects, he's always been a above average turnover per possession type of guy, but this season has been the highest just because there's not another person who can take the pressure off of him. And so that may make you, if you're the GM or a front office of like the Houston Rockets, that may make you say, okay, if we want to potentially eliminate that, take pressure off of him, we may need to acquire another player who can put the ball in the basket, take the ball out of his hands.
Yeah.
And then so that to me would be kind of like a analytic decision you're making based off something like analytically. It says this isn't good when this player is playing with this combo. So maybe if we take this player out of this combo and insert this player into this combo, that may improve the number. It's kind of like that's kind of how I view the analytics. It's like you're basically looking at, well, the league right now is shooting at this as at this pace with this many shots up at the 3-point line, and people who usually make on average this amount of shots from three wins maybe 20% more games. So we need to improve our 3-point shooting and advertise more shots getting up from three, so try to be in that percentile. And just, I guess it's kind of like that. As I guess as an analytical view of kind of like how a GM maybe would use analytics to maybe make a decision about a team or a roster.
Gotcha. And that was a beautiful example, by the way. Thank you for that. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Chris Moore in the building. Chris A1 Tip Moore. What to do, Chris? How you doing, brother? Hopefully all is well.
What's good, fellas? How y'all feeling?
Hey, man, all good, bro. We're talking about these Falcons and the move that they made, and we'll get into the in just a few minutes. We're talking about Alec Hullaby right now and just why I like him as a candidate.
Oh, Mr. Analytics.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And cap flexible strategies, long-term roster modeling. Falcons fit if Atlanta wants to go modern and analytical. Hullaby fits. And the reason I like that is because it says right there. And you know what? No. Let me take a step back. So Ronnie Thomas said something, and I was thinking this earlier. I didn't get into it. But he says Louis Riddick for our next GM. And I like Louis Riddick, but he's not on any list that I even see. I don't even see him being considered as a candidate. That doesn't mean he's not. But if you Google the available candidates and GMs, and if you go to the search engine and whatever, there's no mention of his name. So I don't know, but I certainly like Louis
the
Riddick.
Name.
I like Louis Riddick. I really do. But again,
I like the name, but I don't. I mean, and you remember, he did get interviewed before. Around the same time we was interviewing Terry and everybody else too. Yeah. So I mean, ultimately, I feel like what really runs people away from the Falcons is like the way that they operate things. And what I mean by that is, okay, for perfect example, just like right now, how we got reports out that we're requesting interviews from Clint Kubiak, Stefanski, and also Anthony Weaver. Mm-hmm. Now, I do understand that requesting doesn't mean that you interviewed the guy. I mean, you're just requesting an interview. Right. But at the same time, it's like, I didn't see anything about officially, because this is official. So, so with those three coaches, but I don't see anything like official saying like we're requesting interviews with, this GM or this team's GM or that GM, simultaneously or anything like that. It's just what's been official is the head coaching search. And I'm wondering, are the Falcons about to hire a coach before they hire the GM again? So again,
I mean, it's possible.
And I'm just like, we've seen that movie too many times, and I spoke about it earlier today when me and Smitty was live, and I was like, can we get it to where you hire the president hires the GM hires the coach? Like, can we not just like boom, boom, boom like that? Does it have to be, oh, we're going to hire the coach over here, you sit tight, because we're still got to get our GM. Then we get our GM, then okay, now you sit tight. And all right, Matt, so this is what we're going to do. If you're hiring Matt, if you even bring in Matt or whatever you're going to do, and then you have him, you're like, okay, Matt, this is the plan. Now go execute with those guys like that, like a collaborative effort again. And I feel like that that way of thinking kind of like scares people away because it's like, well, I have no control.
Yeah.
So I can't do anything. My hands are tied and I got to pretty much, you know what I'm saying? You got to wind me up in the back, you know what I'm saying? Like a robot, and I take off, you know what I'm saying? And do what you want me to do. And I just don't feel like that is the recipe for success. Ultimately, like if you're trying to get somebody in here that really can change things, it's like, well, I'm handcuffed, so I can't. So I think that's something to think about too.
Do you think that if you're, and that's a good point, unless you already have who you want to offer the GM position to, and it's just a formality, but that's a very good point, and thank you for bringing that to our attention. Longtime exec Rich McKay is moving to a different role with blank in the organization. Wait a minute, guys, didn't we hear that before? I thought we did. I thought he'd already done this. So what's the difference between this move and the one that happened 2 years ago? I'm confused. Anybody help me out here? Like, I thought we had already done this. I thought he was already not involved with anything with the Falcons. I know he was involved with Mercedes-Benz and the soccer team, but I thought he had already stepped away from the Falcons. This is confusing to me. Bryce, Chris, A1, anybody have any thoughts on this?
I mean, the only difference really this year is they actually have hired someone to be in the position that he was in. That's actually when they did it, they didn't tell anybody was replacing that position. They just moved him. So they could easily just be like, yeah, we moved him. But like, there's nobody who filled the position. This year, they actually have someone who's filling the position that he is vacating. So, I mean, you've told this person that, you're going to be taking over for this guy's job. So if somehow, I mean, if Greg Beadle's the new guy is saying that that's not the case, that would be a terrible organizational failure if that was the case. So that would probably be the only difference in this situation, is that they just actually said, hey, we're going to promote this person to take over his role instead of just saying, hey, we're going to move him, but not actually have anybody replace it.
Where'd we move him? I don't know. Who's doing his job? Nobody. Him a little bit, but not really. But a little bit, but not really. But very little. But okay. We got to do some housekeeping here, guys. So Craig says, what up, Craig? I'm praying for a Green Bay loss, so hopefully they will part ways with LaFleur. Regardless, this is his last year of his contract, and they haven't extended him yet. Hey, man, fingers crossed. Ronnie's in love with Louis Riddick. Wants Louis Riddick here. Not a bad choice, Ronnie Thomas. Lagon TD, and if I'm butchering your name, I apologize. I've never heard someone getting fired twice and still having access to the building. Laugh out loud. That is true. That is true. Guys, Chris, did you see that meme on Twitter where this guy says Raheem was demanding his timeouts as he was walking out of the
yeah, Trey Sean had said that. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, man, the situation got ugly. Raheem Morris was demanding to leave with his timeouts, and the team told him he can't do that. I was like, boy, y'all boy crazy out here.
Oh, that was funny. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. Just a little humor there. Craig says, I feel like we're going through the process of completing the Rooney Rule. I believe they are waiting for the Packers to let LaFleur go and then hire him. Could be. I'd love LaFleur. That'd be awesome. Not going to lie about that, guys. Chris, I've pretty much asked Bryce here, but, just give me your thoughts on the whole Matt Ryan thing. How are you feeling about him being the president of operations and being in on the hiring of the new GM and coach? Just give me your thoughts on that.
I mean, for me, I don't want a collaborative effort. I want people to be able to do their jobs.
You want a dictatorship. You want a monarchy.
I just want people, if you hire a guy for a position, let him do the job. Trust that he can do it. And if you can't, don't put him in the position. I think it should be just that simple. I know it's not that simple. I know I make it sound like it's really simple, but I've seen so many collaborative efforts already, and I've seen them fail. So let me see something where it's like, okay, this guy hires this guy. He gives him to be in control of this. He hires this guy. He's in control of that. That guy hires this guy. If you see any first-time coordinators that you don't agree with, the GM can say, I don't think we should do that. I'm gonna veto that. Go get you some experience or something like that. Or you can have a GM that can interview a head coach and then report back to the president, to the CEO, to the owner, and say, hey, in my experience, this is not the candidate. And I have all the outline reasons why. I asked him this, that, and the third. This is his answers, blah, blah, blah. This is the whole outline on we shouldn't hire this guy, and here's why. I feel like there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, with Matt, going back to the original question, I'm wondering if Matt will be a wind-up, or will Matt have, the ability to make some decisions, even though I know he's a first-timer. Still, will you give him the opportunity to make some decisions, even if you do have to kind of help him along the way, but still allow him to have that final say-so and be like, okay, like, this is what I think, guys. Like, again, because, I feel like, you can only have the training wheels for so long, and sometimes you can have the training wheels on too long, and the guy doesn't develop, so. And going back, even with Terry Fontenot, it's bittersweet with him because I actually felt like he got better as a GM as he went on. When he first started, think about it, he didn't have no experience as a GM. Yeah, he was a cap guy, maybe a scout guy, but as far as like the GM role, he didn't have that experience. But moving forward, he got better. So now it's like, okay, what type of GM are you looking for now? You're looking for that real one with experience. Are you going to allow this guy to come in and do his job, though? Because we can want all these GMs all we want to, but if they interview with the Falcons and then end up walking away, it's going to be hard to think that the interview didn't go well because the Falcons said, well, we want you to do this, that, and the third. And then that person said, well, there's no room for me to groom, blossom, nothing. I'm sorry. I can't do that.
Yeah, that's fair. The only thing I would counter with that is with most six-figure jobs, when you interview, you're not just going to interview with one person, and you're not just going to have one interview, and it's going to be multiple interviews. So typically, and again, that's just with most six-figure jobs, it is a collaborative effort because they feel like you at least need to be in front of multiple people before they make a decision. When I was in management with another telecommunications company, and I must have done like 500 interviews. I got so sick of doing interviews because, we did interviews a lot. But we would always interview. It was myself and a peer. We would interview, and then contingent upon the position, we'd either hire them, or if it was a coaching position, which would be a position that reported directly to us, it was multiple interviews, right? So I can understand the need to get someone in front of more than one person so you can get a collective viewpoint. I can understand that. I get that. I can also see your point. But we got to go because we're on a schedule tonight. Lagon says, I don't want to be a Michael Jordan. I don't want this to be a Michael Jordan situation. Just because you played the sport doesn't mean you can run a team. And that's true. But I think his duties are allotted specifically, if I read it correctly, to just the hiring of the GM, the hiring of the coach, and then maybe maintaining culture and just the support of the GM and the coach. I really don't know what his responsibility is post GM and coaching hire. So maybe they'll make that available to the public and we'll know. But either way, guys, we got a shift here to the main course tonight. And that is Mr. Trae Young officially being in the trading process. Chris, I know you have some strong feelings about it. Bryce, I know you're in this. For those of you who don't know, obviously Chris has two shows. He does a show with Smitty 2K, and then he's got his own show. but he's also on the Hawks Digest, and Bryce, I'm sorry, Brycey too. I keep looking at your name down there, but Bryce is with the Believe Network. So, guys, you guys are the basketball experts. And Chris, I'm going to start with you. You seem to not be in favor of this trade. Give us why you feel that way. Like, let's just talk through it. Matter of fact, this is all Trae Young. I'm just gonna remove this, and we're just gonna talk like regular folks. So yeah, man, let's get to it. Chris, why are you against this trade?
Well, my thing is like as far as with the trade, it's kind of funny because all the moves that really was made the offseason was made necessarily kind of like for Trey in a way.
Right.
You bring in a stretch five, something that Trey never had. Really, when you think about it, I mean, from a rebounding standpoint, I think Clint Capella was still like the best center Trey has played with at that aspect. But if you're talking about all around skill, it's KP without question. But I understand that Trey has been injured. He's only played 10 games this season. Now, I understand that the Hawks record is 2-8. I understand all that stuff.
That's 2-8 with him and 13-9 without him, right?
No, they're 15-12 without him. They're working on 15-13, but that's neither here nor there right
they're
now.
losing tonight, right?
That's neither here and there. But at the end of the day, my point is, it's like, it's weird because you made these moves. It's weird because you said you want to see what Trey and Jalen Johnson were going to be like together, and you haven't really been able to see the project because you think about it, you're thinking that just because they've been teammates before, you still have to have that continuity with the rest of the pieces that you just added. I don't feel like the Atlanta Hawks, fully got the full experiment out the way. The only problem is you can't really wait because the season is still going. I mean, we're in January right now. Trey has this option at the end of the season where he can opt in to $49 million, which why wouldn't you? But here is a reason why wouldn't you. He could just opt out and just walk away from the Hawks completely at the end of the season. Now, again, that's $49 million you'll be leaving on the table, and that's pretty crazy. But it's still, I'm just putting it out there. He has that optionality to do that if he wants to. So it's like the Atlanta Hawks got to make some sort of move to try to protect the logo and at least get something for him. But I'm really feeling John Collins-ish, so with this, I'm feeling the real salary dumpish. I'm feeling like, not getting back the trade value at all. And it's just like, why did we wait this long to do this? I feel like this is a decision you should have made, to be honest with you and respectfully, before the season even started. You probably would have got more max value because the reports about what you're going to get for Trae Young is not good. And it's multiple sources saying similar things, just like how it was with the trade rumors. But ultimately, I just feel like the Hawks did not, fully exercise the opportunities. Now, I understand injuries did play a part of that, but it's just weird to move on already without even seeing what could happen.
Okay, that's fair. Bryce, give us your thoughts.
I said that on Twitter that the Hawks have kind of put themselves in position to kind of make this move. That people talk about the Hawks maybe could have traded Trey a couple of years ago, but they really weren't in a great position to do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we were still recouping assets and things like that from the DeJounte Murray trade. So doing that and then potentially, and we've heard, I think, for years that whatever the Hawks get will never be great. We're not going to get 8 picks and 4 players. They people have said that for years. That's just not going to happen. Teams are not going to do it because he's a smaller guard and some of the issues that come with that. So obviously you try to build around the best you can. I do agree with Chris on the point of we really haven't seen him enough with the team fully healthy to know if it would work. But I also feel like some of this is a bit of a rush because he was out for so long, and I think because of the losing streak, the Hawks feel like, we probably want to know by the trade deadline if we need to move on from him or not.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's one of those things where it's like they're just running out of time.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can't not see it and then not do it, and then because I think people feel like the biggest fear is if he opts in, the one thing the Hawks want is financial flexibility. Well, Trey takes up now $49 million.
Yes.
How are you? A lot of teams do not want Trey on that $49 million.
Right.
And that's why Trey would do it, because he's like, well, this is probably the most money I'm going to get from a team. Because if I go somewhere else, I won't get that. Ever. And so, I think listen, Ansi is clearly like, listen, I got to do what's best for the team. This is why we put ourselves in position. Because I said this, the Hawks are in a position now because they created a lot of financial flexibility. If you move off a Trey, you get even more financial flexibility. You have the opportunity next year to have a top 3 draft pick, a crap ton of cap space, and then you have a young up-and-coming player in Jalen Johnson that you would assume would get the reins of the face of the franchise. And in it with some talented young players mixed in there. And so I feel like the Hawks feel like, with that being the case and having that on the table, we have to continue to build on that and do what's best. And if that is moving off of Trey Young to help create a winning product, because I think Ansi wants to create a winning product. I think he wants to get to the playoffs. He wants to get playoffs this year. He wants to get playoffs next year. Like he doesn't want to tear down the entire thing. That's not what he wants to do. But I think, it's going to be interesting, because if the Hawks never got that Pelicans pick, would this have changed anything?
Mm-hmm.
That would be one of the big questions I would have, is if the Hawks never got that pick, would that have changed anything? Because then they wouldn't have a lottery pick. Now it's like, you Trey Young, you don't have a lottery pick. What do?
Right.
If you move off of him, do you have any other alternative to try to get a player to replace him?
Right.
Now the Hawks potentially could get a top 5, top 3 pick in a draft that is considered one of the strongest drafts in years.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially 2-3 franchise players at the top. You get one of them. Now you feel like you're in a completely different place as a franchise. You still have financial flexibility, and you can continue to build this thing. And obviously, we'll see how the trickle down. Because then also my next question would be, how does this affect Quinn Snyder?
Right.
They brought Quinn to work with Trey.
Mm-hmm.
If Trey's gone, what does that mean for Quinn?
He's next. That's what that means.
Well, I'm going to be honest, and not to cut you off, but just listening to what you guys are saying, a few observations. Number one, it feels like they really don't want to pay him that $49 million. It feels like they are trying to get out from that. And it also feels like the play without him has surprised them, right? It feels like, and I can agree with that. If you'd have told me that the Hawks would be 2-9 with Trey and 15-13 without him, I would have said, whatever you're drinking is really good. May I have some? Because clearly you're hallucinating right now. And it's been a long day, and I want some of that. So, number one, and guys, let me ask you this. Could they have been surprised? Could this lineup without Trey have gelled to the point to where they said, you know what? We can play without him. And you're going to pay him $49 million? I mean, $49 million, that is, bro, that is not cheap. I tell you what, I wish I had a jump shot. Jesus, we are in the wrong racket, guys. $49 million. Again, to me, it seems like you want to get out from under this contract. How old is Trey?
26.
Yeah, 26, 27.
I did not realize he was that young. Okay. But yeah, it just feels like they want to get out from this contract. He's not really a great defender. Feels like he's not going to get better in that area. They clearly struggle with him. Now, again, to Chris's point, we really have not seen him play with Porzingis. He really has not been healthy. We could be making a mistake. But it feels like to me, and this is just me, feels like to me they just said, you know what, Trey's not worth $49 million. That's what I think they're thinking, is that whatever we get for him, to pay him $49 million is not value. And I'm gonna cross pollinate here and make
and T Will again. that point that you just made about they feel like he's not worth the $49 million, respectfully, let's keep it real, guys, and take the fandom out of being Hawks fans. Shouldn't that have been ironed out over last season?
I don't
Over the
know.
last off season.
I agree, Chris, but I don't know that Trey was the team last year, right?
Right, but
I
I'm
mean,
saying
or
this
at
this
least,
off season right here is what I'm saying. Like leading up into this season,
well,
shouldn't
I
you
don't.
have already known that you don't want to pay a guy $49 million regardless?
No, I get that, but I guess what I'm saying is you also have to know that if you get rid of this guy, you can win some games. Like you don't want to get rid of him and then just suck, just be terrible. Even though as I speak, we are 10th in the league,
And I'm
but
like, we're still 10th in the East.
yeah, but I mean, you could make the argument that before you signed before you signed Kennard, before you traded for Porzingis, before you did all of that, if you'd have got rid of Trey, you're in dire straits. So I get the need for them to say, you know what, let's see how this plays out. And I'm not saying that they're right and you're wrong. I'm just saying I see why you're right. I mean, ultimately, in a perfect scenario, you should discuss this in the offseason, but maybe they were like, let's just see how this is. I just get the feeling that Anzi, and if I'm wrong, you guys can correct me, but he doesn't seem like a trade guy. Am I wrong here?
Well, I mean, in all fairness, he didn't draft him, so he doesn't have to
Okay.
be a trade guy.
Okay.
He didn't.
Okay.
My thing is, he doesn't have to be an anybody guy because he didn't draft nobody except for Asa Newell.
Yeah.
So with that being said, he doesn't have to have loyalty to nobody, including JJ, who's
Okay.
on that wonderful contract, by the way, that's very tradable. So I'm just being honest on what the same thing for Dyson. Great contract, great tradable contract. So again, like we're signing guys, but at the same time, Anzi doesn't have to be loyal to anybody because again, I mean, I feel like he was involved in the Dyson Daniels move. I still do. And I know that he drafted Asa Newell. So I'm looking at Dyson and I'm looking at Asa and I'm like, that's Anzi. Everything prior, it's not. So it's taking everything with a grain of salt, man. I do get that point about what you were saying, T. Will, about wanting to see if we're gonna suck with them or without them and all that stuff like that. But at the same time, you still really kind of haven't. I mean, you're going off of the narratives and you're going off of the 2-8 start. But my thing is, within that 2-8 start, people forget that Porzingis got hurt within that. People got to understand that, even Trey, getting hurt with that. And people got to understand some of those losses were within that losing streak. And yes, we lost the games, but if you look inside the games, Trey was effective in every single game. We lost the game for other reasons. The bad call on Ricochet, the turnovers on defense. At the end, Trey, at the end of the game, passing it to JJ unable to handle the pass, whether it was a good pass or not. Now that can be debated. But at the same time, like JJ calling for it, the pass finally does come to you and you're not ready for it. Just situational things have happened within the losing streak. Then you got the brakes beat off you by the Spurs and Trey didn't play at all. So it's like a lot of people, I don't feel like really ultimately watch the games. I feel like, especially like in the media, that's who I'm really talking to. I feel like they actually really watch the games. I think they box score. Because, I mean, let's just be honest. When you're covering the NBA, you have to cover the NBA. So it's like you can't really watch every game. I understand that, too. But I don't feel like a lot of people watch the Hawks and really see the problems within. People don't see guys getting caught backdoor. People don't see the overhelping, the not boxing out, the overextended. It's so much that also that goes into it as well. But people just feel like, oh, when we trade Trae Young, everything goes away. And that's just hilarious because it won't, because there's other issues.
And to add to that point, like think about some of the issues the Hawks have had this year. Defensive rebounding, that ain't got nothing to do with Trey. Transition defense. I mean, he's one guy. It's a whole team defensive thing. Like the issues we've had that have cost us in games the lack of rim protection, that has nothing to do with Trey. And yet people are going to see that and just see an L and say Trey. And
that's what they've been doing.
That's just because it fits their narrative. So, I mean, it's one of those things. That's why I've always been like, I just want us to give fair criticism to him. Like, let's be fair. Like, let's not just say, well, I don't want him on my team, so I'm just going to blame him when it's not his fault. Because, why not? So that's kind of the big thing for me with Trey is just be fair with your criticism. Because like he said, like a lot of those guys have the KP. One of the biggest issues the Hawks have is they have no rim protection. Yeah. If they don't play okay. And so once you get past Dyson and Nikhil, there's nobody stopping you at the rim. That's why they're getting cooked on defense. Yeah. They ain't got nobody to stop them at the rim. Yeah. So
points in the paint, we've been getting obliterated really like all season. When you look at it, we're like one of the worst teams when it comes to points in the paint because we get dominated because teams are being physical with us. They know that we're more so of a finesse team than physical. So the physicality is not there. And just like Bryce just said, you get past Nikhil, you get past Dyson, you can get right there in that mid-range and have whatever you like you're listening to T.I.
You can have whatever you like. Hey, so, guys, let me ask you this. What can we get for Trey? Because, I'm seeing reports of Anthony Davis. No, thank you. No, thank you. I mean, and no disrespect to Anthony Davis, he is not worth it because he simply can't stay healthy. He's not worth what you have to pay him. He's only played 12 games this year. And I don't know how many Porzingis has played. No. You already got one of those.
Porzingis has played about 17 games, Bryce? 17, 18 games? So, so that's what I'm saying. Like, he still only played, that amount of games. I think him and AD were around in the same, close to it, as far as playing games. But you think about it. Think about it from this perspective, though, T. Will. Just like how you saying AD is not worth it because he can't stay healthy, right?
Yep.
A lot of people are saying Trey is not worth trading because he don't play defense, because he don't rebound and everything like that. So really, if you trade one for the other, it's like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like,
I think we'd lose that trade. I would not trade Trey for Anthony Davis. I
wouldn't either.
I would not. I don't see value there. Because Anthony Davis contract next year like $55 million or something like that.
57.1, and then with the opportunity, with the opportunity of making $62 million. That's what you want?
No, absolutely.
And what he's about to be like 36, 37.
Yeah, absolutely.
At least Trey is 26.
Yeah, absolutely not. Like there's no way I'd do that deal. There's just no way. There's no upside. You got an aging player whose skills are eroding, and you're paying him. You're way overpaying for that, right? It's like what's his name that signed with the Mets? I can't think of his name. Right field.
Bobby Bonilla.
No. Oh my God, no. Oh my God, you went. I'm talking about last year, bro.
Soto. Yeah. Soto?
There's no way Soto's going to be worth the money he's going to be getting when he's 35, 36. It's just not. He's not. Like that contract that he signed, $700 million, by the way, damn near 800. There's no way he's going to be worth that when he's 34. He's not going to be producing at that level. And Anthony Davis is worth, we're talking $57 million. 57 for somebody who's played 12 games. Get the hell out of here, man. Let's talk realistically. What can we get for Trey? Who can we get for Trey? Just give me some thoughts, guys.
I mean, I don't really know if I have any certain players necessarily in mind. I feel like if you make the move, you probably want some type of guard/point guard back in return. You will probably also want expiring deals just because you want it off the books. Again, financial flexibility.
Right.
And then if you can get a pick or two, that obviously doesn't hurt either. So I think it really just kind of depends. It'll be interesting to see how Auntie kind of figures this out, because I'm like, obviously, if you want to still try to be competitive this year, maybe do you try to get a guard and a wing Like, so can you get something of value where it's like, all right, these guys can maybe help us this year, and we can just kind of go from there. And then, like I said, get a pick or two and kind of make it happen. Because, like I said, I know his value is kind of limited because the small guard right now is kind of viewed as one of the more negative player prototypes to have on your roster.
Right.
So it's one of those things where it's like, what can we get back for him? What can we do to get this back what we need? Because, at the same time, you never know. Is it possible the Hawks say, listen, it is what it is for this season? And so then it does turn into a salary dump. And then they're like, we have so many resources next year that we can try to reform and try to, create something different. So I don't think there's anything great. I know the only team that we know is connected to us is Washington. And, people, and then you're hearing CJ. And the only reason why CJ has to be in that trade is to make the money work.
Yep.
And, because if not, I mean, Wizards don't have any other bad, expensive players on their roster to make the money work. So, and it's like, you're looking at, I mean, CJ's not a bad player at this point in his career, but I mean, nobody's out here getting moved like CJ McCollum's taking us to the finals. So, like, it's one of those things where it's like, he has the ability to go off randomly for 40. He did it against us this year. Yeah, it happened, but but I mean, that's kind of where we are with it. Really, he's just what can you get? Because the biggest thing is if you trade him, you got to find money to match. So that could lead to multiple players or a player that another team wants to salary dump coming back to us, but on an expiring deal.
This feels like you might need to do a 3-team trade here. Is that what I'm hearing?
I've said a 3-team trade might be ideal for the Hawks because sometimes you get that extra asset from that other team.
Okay.
But that could be tough just because, of course, you got to find that third team that's willing to play ball with you.
And it depends if everybody has what they want or gets what they want in that deal. Yeah,
that's what's definitely going to have to happen. So it's going to be interesting to see, y'all. Like, again, I just feel like it's just funny moving on again. Like I said, from a guy that you made moves for. Obviously, you made moves. I mean, you made moves for the team, but you just look at the different positions, and you seen that the Hawks did want to get better on defense. The Hawks did want to get better from the perimeter as far as shooting, and the Hawks wanted to have, some more rim protection and let Trey navigate everything. But now, since the injuries have happened and the Hawks, have been staying afloat, I won't say they've been killing it. I want to say they have been playing better and they've been staying afloat. But to make all these moves again and to not allow it to come into fruition, or at least to see if it could work, especially after going through the DeJounte Murray thing and the DeJounte Murray project, we've seen that through and through.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So to not see this situation through and through is just a little funny. But at the same time, I do agree with Bryce what he said on his point earlier when he hit it. And he was saying the Hawks are running out of time because you have this contract. You didn't extend him. He has this option. And it's like, if he opts in, it's going to be, like you said, he's going to be taking up so much salary cap. And it's like, you're not going to be able to do anything.
Yeah.
So again, it's like I understand, but it's really like it's almost like I'm handcuffed and my hands are tied.
Yeah.
I wanted to do this, but now this has arose along with the injuries, and now it's like now I have to pivot, but it just still looks so bad.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, hey, we'll find. When is the trade deadline?
February 5th.
Oh, okay. We got time. We got a whole month. Okay.
Yep.
Oh my God, this is gonna drag on for a month. Jeez, man. Oh wow, it's gonna be the daily trade news cycle. It's gonna be as the trade turns. Oh my God. Okay, guys.
No, it's gonna be like that for real.
It really is. Well, what an interesting offseason, right? We got the Falcons searching for coaches and GMs. We got the Hawks trying to trade Trae Young. The Braves have been doing their thing. Hopefully they sign a pitcher. I mean, the one thing I hear about it, guys, we'll be doing plenty of podcasting, right? So That's the good news, right? We'll be on here. We got something to talk about. But anyway, hey guys, I got to go make the world safer for wireless customers everywhere.
Yeah,
I
I got
thank
some
you
stuff for
guys
that.
so much for joining me. Chris, you say you got to go?
Yeah, I was say, yeah, me too. So it's right on time.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you what, Chris, you tell these folks where they can find you.
Oh man. Well, I will say this, man. A1 Forever Sports, the platform on YouTube. Please come over and be a part of the A1 family. Appreciate everybody who's already a part of it. And also Hawks Digest, man, as well, covering the Hawks. And, so it's all about, the logo and what we're going to do forward. And I just hope the Atlanta Hawks make the best moves for the franchise so we can be higher than just a play-in team, because we've been that for too long now. And right now, the way we're looking, if we don't make some kind of strides and we start winning multiple games and putting streaks together, we may be there again. Who knows? But hopefully not. Outside of that, Twitter A1 Forever, Instagram A1 Forever, and the real A1 Forever on TikTok. Thank y'all for the invite as always.
Of course, brother. And hey, man, if you guys know Mr. Chris A1 Tipmore, he's a man of many talents. Again, he's got the whole thing that he's got his own channel. Then he's got a show that he does with Smitty. Then he does the Hawks Digest. So a lot going on. And the brother over here to my right, Mr. Bryce 2K, is no different. He's got his thing going on with the Believe Network. And tell these folks everything you got going on, Bryce.
Yeah, like you said, Believe Network, Believe in Hawks. If you want to keep up with any of my Hawks stuff throughout the season. Do Falcons content as well. If you can catch up, obviously, that's like we talked about. It's very active there. It's gonna be active for the next few weeks going into the playoffs. So, that's pretty much the main stuff we got going on. So if you want to go over and subscribe, Bryce_2K, just to keep up with what I have to say about that, those just any updates to those situations and advances and things like that. So obviously I appreciate you too letting me come on and talk ball with you.
Hey man, I appreciate you coming. I mean, anytime I can get together with you and Chris, it's a win for me, man. So I appreciate both of you guys coming. Good conversation. And hey, man, stay tuned. We'll see what these Falcons and Hawks and Braves do. Everyone who joined us in the chat, we thank you. You guys could have been anywhere in the world. You chose to be with us. We definitely appreciate you. Love talking Hawks, Falcons, Braves, Bulldogs, whatever with you, anything sports related. And hey, we just appreciate you for joining us and listening. As you see, look, if you want to talk about some stuff, you stuff you liked about the show, stuff you didn't, you can email me at formyatlcontact@gmail.com. On YouTube, for my ATL Sports 1 for all your sports content. If you like movies and TV series, for my ATL Movies 1 on YouTube as well. Facebook is Gideon T. Will Podcast as well. And X is at For My ATL Sports. And Instagram is For My ATL Sports 1 and Movies. Again, thank you guys for joining. Thank God for waking me up this morning. To Mr. Jack Spade and Eric Parker, thank you for my starting this business. You guys have an amazing day. Go Hawks, go Falcons. Good night, everybody.
ATL. Through the highs and the heartbreaks, we still stand. Dirty birds forever. Let's get it. Year after year, we've been riding through the storm. Red and black in my veins, that loyalty was swung. We don't fold, we don't run, even when the pain hits. Cause every loss just reminds us what greatness is. We show up cold nights or the Georgia sun. Cause every Sunday we believe that our time gon' come. We ain't perfect, but we faithful and we'll never switch. We the city of the A, yeah, we built for this. We don't need pretty words, just heart on the field we deserve. Put the work in, earn that glory. Bring our city back to the story. We'll ride till the wheels fall off. We ain't never gonna break. Win or lose, we stand tall. 48, you can doubt us, talk loud, but we still hold steady. Cause we here and we faithful and we always ready. It's the dirty, prove the dirty. If you bout it, then prove the dirty. We'll believe when you fight for the city.